tonight, another day, another backfire.
Here working at Ford, or have been working, at Holden. Sorry, not at Ford.
The PM's pledge to jumpstart the struggling car industry with $500 million. Schapelle Corby closer to freedom. Indonesia's parole board pushes for her release. A cyclist crushed by a truck after the rig smashed into a bridge and toppled over in a freak tragedy. And the Wallabies bid to bring back the Bledisloe after a decade across the ditch.
First at 5, 10 News with Matt Doran.
Good evening and welcome to 10 News. First tonight, a much-needed push for our struggling car industry, with Prime Minister Kevin Rudd pledging $500 million over 5 years, a move he says will save thousands of jobs. But the coalition claims the pledge is simply a move to divert attention from more poor poll results, which show Labor falling even further behind in the election race. Matt Moran's been on the campaign trail and joins us now from Adelaide. Matt, this is a very big promise. How and when would it be delivered?
Well, Mr Rudd has to win the election and the money will only be available from 2016. Now, Tony Abbott says it's just policy on the run and he hasn't committed to matching it. Kevin's campaign isn't cooking with gas at the moment. The PM was in Adelaide surrounded by Holden workers to announce Labor's plan to help the car industry, but it didn't get off to a good start.
Working at Ford, or have been working, at Holden. Sorry, not at Ford.
Gaff aside, the plan gives the industry $500 million from 2016.
What do car industries require across the world? Whether they're in Germany or whether in the United States, they require long-term investment certainty.
We've got today Mr Rudd chasing the motor industry down the street with a blank cheque.
On the one hand, with a $1.8 billion tax, and then trying to claim credit for promising on the never $500 million if he's elected.
While Labor is spending up big on the car industry, the coalition is still refusing to release its policy costings. But the Shadow Treasurer said 3 eminent Australians, dubbed the Three Angels, will sign off on the coalition's costings before the election.
The Australian people should see not only the Liberal Party costings, but how they're going to pay for their budget black hole.
Kevin Rudd has clocked up some serious Ks travelling around Australia trying to win over voters in marginal seats, but his campaign has been described as a shambles, and the latest polls are worrying, to say the least, for Labor.
Mr Abbott's written his victory speech. I think that's a little bit arrogant.
There's several polls every day. If we spent all our time analysing the polls and watching them, we wouldn't get any chance to go out and talk to voters about issues that are actually of importance to them. That's what we're focused on.
Mr Rudd has also rejected his PNG plan is in tatters after Prime Minister Peter O'Neill said not all genuine refugees will be settled in his country.
Our policy is clear-cut. Nobody coming to Australia by boat, supported by people smugglers, without a visa, will be settled in this country.
The Rudd Roadshow will be in Sydney tomorrow. Now make sure you tune in to Meet the Press tomorrow. Tony Abbott is the special guest.
Matt Moran reporting there. Thanks very much. Well, convicted drug smuggler Schapelle Corby might soon be free. It's been revealed the 35-year-old has now been recommended by prison authorities for parole. Corby has been eligible since August last year, but has not applied due to Indonesia's hard line on drug traffickers. Now, it seems authorities are on her side. However, this doesn't mean she'll be coming home anytime soon. If released, Schapelle would have to live in Bali with older sister Mercedes until the end of her prison term. Today, both Corby and the Bali Nine's Renee Lawrence were also recommended for 6- and 8-month cuts to their sentences respectively as part of Indonesia's Independence Day celebrations. Neither of those applications have yet been officially granted. Well, more than 60 people have been killed overnight as the conflict in Egypt continues to rage, taking the toll there, the death toll, to at least 700 this week. Mosques are being made into morgues and churches are on fire. 10 News has spoken to an Egyptian couple who fled the war zone, migrating here to Australia. Natasha Exelby has the details. Well, still to come, an 85-year-old robbed of the money she saved for her own funeral. Plus, the Australian women considering a class action over their contraceptive pill. Also, hundreds missing after a ferry smashes into a cargo ship. And the 101-year-old grandmother proving you're never too old to realise your dream. Welcome back. You're with 10 News.
The Kevin Rudd comeback is over after a disastrous week. The question is, how bad for Labor can this get?
10 a.m. Sunday on 10.
Updating tonight's top stories, Kevin Rudd has pledged $500 million to the struggling car industry in a move the coalition says is to detract from more poor polling results for Labor. It comes as the PM agreed to go head-to-head with Tony Abbott in a People's Forum debate in Brisbane. More than 60 people have been killed in another day of bloodshed in Egypt. It follows the deaths of at least 600 protesters who clashed with the military and police earlier this week. And a freak accident in Brisbane with a cyclist crushed when a truck slammed into a bridge and toppled over on top of him. Well, a shop's been destroyed by fire in Sydney's west. The blaze started soon after the takeaway restaurant in Maryland's closed last night. It's believed the fire may have been caused by an electrical fault in the kitchen. All cooking equipment has been destroyed and major damage has been contained to the one shop, while a nearby premises suffered smoke inhalation. Well, at 101 years young, a Melbourne woman has had a lifelong wish come true. Gwen Salmon was taken on a joyride in a Rolls Royce and says she loved every minute. Melanie Davies was there.
Gwen has spent more than a century dreaming about this moment.
Oh, look what we've got here.
Oh. Oh, how good.
Hello, Mrs. Salmon.
To her surprise, a one-of-a-kind Rolls-Royce pulled up outside her Melbourne nursing home.
Better get in it before it vanishes. It's like a dream.
The 101-year-old was at a function in July when she let slip that she had a lifelong desire.
She was asked if there were anything in her life that she still wanted to do. And she said, without hesitation, yes, I haven't had a ride in a Rolls-Royce.
So Jeff arranged for Gilbert and his Rolls called Charlotte to roll in for a mid-afternoon joyride.
Cars have been very much a part of my life. It allows for wide people as well as tall and thin ones.
Gwen, who will be 102 in December, described her cruise in the 1936 model as beautiful.
Well, everything's clean and polished and in the right place and lovely armrests.
Her interest in cars stems from her late husband, who worked in the industry.
Then it was time for lap 2 in a 1964 Silver Cloud 3.
Although she spent just an hour on the road,
it was beautiful too.
The memories for Gwen and her friends will last much longer. Melanie Davies, 10 News.
Lots of pressure now for the 102nd birthday. Well done to Gwen there. Well, sports next with Adam Hawse live from ANZ Stadium. Adam, the Wallabies face a monumental task against the All Blacks tonight.
Yes, you could say that, Matt, and after the break we'll have a full preview of the Bledisloe opener with Matt Burke. Plus, Canberra's tough trot continues as the rampant doggies bounce back from Monday night's loss. Also, Carlton's season still alive after an absolute thriller at the MCG. And plenty of perfection on a perfect day at Chaupu. We'll tell you how the Aussies fared at the famous break after this one. The Wallabies will have the chance to put a dent in the All Blacks' decade-long stranglehold on the Bledisloe Cup when Game 1 of the Rugby Championship kicks off in just a couple of hours.
Good evening. I'm joining you from ANZ Stadium tonight where the Bledisloe Cup is on, and I tell you what, the conditions are just perfect. It's been a spectacular sunny day in Sydney and it's staying dry for the game tonight as well. It is a little bit on the chilly side for those that are heading out to Homebush. 19 degrees at the moment, but a little bit of a wind chill factor, and when we do get those winds gusting to around 30 kilometres an hour, we could see them affecting the kicking. But apart from that, it is just fantastic considering we're still in winter at the moment.
Well, that's 10 News for this Saturday. Thanks very much for your company. Don't forget to get behind the Wallabies tonight. Have a fantastic night.